love to looking ahead. When you think years in the future, what legacy do you hope to leave?
What legacy? I hope to leave a lot of legacies actually, but the
Mm,
most important legacy is to help other people do the same type of changes that I've been able to do.
yeah.
So I work a lot on frameworks. I try to make what I do easily understandable and
Yes.
not like magic. I don't want people to say, oh, she only did it because she went to MIT or because she was in that place or because
Mm,
she knew these people. I I talk to high schoolers all the time. And boy, these kids are really smart. I'm glad I'm not a high schooler these days because
yeah.
wow, I
Yeah.
certainly would not have been able to get into MIT today, I think. I mean, there's people inventing stuff all the time. It's crazy.
Mm,
But I think my legacy is really a lot of ancient wisdom that is translated in a modern way to this generation. So, how do you make change? How do you feel the momentum of change? How do you take an idea that you're seeing in your mind's eye all the way, as I was starting to explain before we got cut off by the internet?
yeah.
But I was explaining the most important thing is to take not just to have the ideas, but to be able to then say, okay, what is the invention of the technology or the product? Then how do you actually engineer it? Right? This is
Mm,
very different than the science of it.
mm,
Then, how do you make sure that it can be constructed with materials that we have today? This
mm,
is also very important. And the materials are changing all the time. Then, really understanding, is it easily deployable? I think a lot of people don't think through that. So I talk to people with great products all the time, but they're not really deployable.
mm,
And then there's, is it, really usable? Can you live
yes.
with it every day?
Mm,
So I think a lot of people who are good at this may not be good at that or may not be good at this. And very few people are good at all the parts. And so when
mm,
you have this hackathon type of group coming together, I think one of the biggest breakthroughs is AI and this
yes.
concept of agentic swarm, where you can have, like, I just invented something, I'm about to patent it, and I have 200 virtual employees with me by myself, right? I'm using
Yeah.
a couple AI platforms to red team themselves. But today, a high schooler with a great idea can have basically a virtual team of experts help them go through this whole process. But if they don't have the experience of asking the right questions, right, then they don't really know how to steer AI.
Mm,
So it's a
mm,
lot of haystacks, but they are not finding the needles. They're not connecting the entire path. And so those are things like frameworks that I know how to explain. So one of the things that I love doing is working with large and small companies to do these workshops, right?
yes.
Usually for about 3 days where we just with their leaders go in and just change, show them through example and experience. How do you actually bring in this intuition, these ideas that come to your mind, these aha insights, and then make them come to life in a very detailed, usable, deployable way. So that's what I really love doing.
I love it. And this is the framework that you have. This is the framework that you're producing, both of them.
Well, so I have a couple frameworks. One is Super Sense framework, Super Senses, and I'll explain that.
Mm,
Then there's Tornado Leadership, which is
yes.
how do you create change in society within 3 years? So one has to sort of, the understanding of one sort of needs to come before the other. So super
Mm,
senses is basically understanding what makes us human. How is it that we perceive the world is actually based on our DNA receiving energy signals, our skin,
mm,
our hair, right? This is literally our body's ability to
yeah.
sense changes. And so imagine, if you will, that we're just like a buoy floating in the ocean, right? And the
Mm,
ocean sometimes is turbulent, violent sometimes, like it is now. Sometimes it's calm. But at all times, our body is designed to get back to balance. It's homeostasis is a more medical term,
Mm.
right? Or physics term. But balance is the simpler way. So we're just like a
Mm.
weeble wobble, right?
Yeah.
But our body is literally physically designed for you to sense if you're off balance. And so super senses, what I've done is made it really simple for people to understand 8 ways that our body is designed physically to sense if we're out of balance, and then to communicate to the rest of our body, our mind, our spirit, if you will, our emotions, to
Mm.
reset, to get back to peace, to stability.
Mm.
And so just very briefly, one is inner knowing. That's sort of like, oh yeah, I know it's that option A, not option B. I just know. Right? Then
Mm.
B, the second one is foresight. It's knowing things that are coming. Like I know that that's going to happen. Right? Some people can call it
Yeah.
precognition. Some of
Mm.
it is based on experience, pattern recognition, but some of it is like just tapping in. It's like, I know there's a lot of momentum towards that probable future, right?
Yeah.
The third one is physical knowing. So people who get goosebumps, chills,
Mm.
right? That type of reaction. Like if they hear,
Mm.
like if they feel a really big yes or a really big no to something, right? That's physical knowing. Right. The third one
Mm.
is embodied empathy, when you're really feeling the emotions of the people around you or humanity all around us. And you're like, oh, I feel so sad. I feel like heavy, but there's nothing in
Yeah.
your life that is really making you that. Well, maybe it's not you. So I ask people
Mm.
to ask themselves, is this me? Am I feeling me or am I feeling somebody else? That's
Mm.
embodied empathy, right?
Mm.
And then 4 is planetary attunement, which if you're an environmental activist, for sure you have this. So it could show
Mm.
up like you talk to animals, you talk to plants, you communicate with them.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
feel the energy of a mountain or clouds or the ocean. You get certain types of like off balance when there's large solar flares. We're going through an X class solar flare right now, right? Or Schumann resonance spikes, the Earth's frequency is spiking, or the moon is full, right? Planetary alignments, conjunctions, or just the weather shifts, right? Some people are very, very, very sensitive to one or more of those. Um, then
Mm.
there's inner images where you have a vivid imagination, whether it's during your dreams or you're just like an architect and you're sitting there and all of a sudden you can imagine a floating city like Raiden Lorison, I was telling you about her, right?
Yeah.
She sees
Yeah.
it. She knows that this needs to come to life, right? But she can see
Mm.
every single little detail down to the microscopic detail. And then there's inner voice. So some people like me, I'm a public speaker, and most of the time I don't write out my speeches. I mean, I almost never do. And if I do, it'll just be a few phrases to remind me, right? Like a 45-minute speech. Sometimes I forget that I'm supposed to talk about this. So, but what happens is I'm in this flow. People talk about flow, like sports people, right? The
Yeah.
athletes, they're
Mm.
in the flow. So for me, I hear phrases and I'm just like, oh, I should say that. And it's like, for
Mm.
me, it's sort of rhymey, poetic sound bites come to me.
Mm.
Some people, like
Mm.
poets, like people who do slam poetry, they just, or singers, they're hearing harmonies, right? They're hearing whole speeches. That's inner voice, right? So you have to listen
Mm.
to that. And then the last one is the most important, which is signal weaving. And signal weaving is what neuroscientists call synesthesia. This is a very well documented thing where you get one information stream like color or sound or textures or shapes, energy flows, time, temperature, letters, numbers, right? All of these things, they can combine and create a third information flow. So, for example, Pharrell Williams, who created Happy, the song Happy, right? Everybody knows
Mm.
Pharrell, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In 2024, he actually created an animated film with Lego to show people how he viewed the world. It's a perception capacity. So when he
Yeah.
hears sound, right, when he hears music, he actually sees colors dancing. So that's a form of synesthesia.
Mm.
I know a friend of mine, he's a psychologist. He's written a book called The Way of a Seer. And when he heard, I think it was Stravinsky, I'm going to not say this right, but Rites of Spring, he could see like basically this whole colors coming to life, like an animated short. So that's one form, right? But many people, especially CEOs, right? People who have genius or invent things, they have many forms of this. So it could be
Mm.
numbers and textures. So seeing like complexity multidimensionally very easily,
Mm.
right? It could be scenarios and numbers. So you can see multiple, futures all at the same time without getting confused.
Yeah.
Some people see patterns, right? So numbers and shapes. Some
Yeah.
people see numbers and sounds, so beats. So if you have inner
Mm.
voice, you're hearing harmonies, and you have this signal weaving of numbers and sounds, what happens is most likely you're a musician. For sure, you
Yeah.
like jazz and classical music and sophisticated harmonies. So it turns out that CEOs, successful CEOs, always have 5 different versions, mostly number combinations of signal weaving. And so it
Mm.
basically allows them to see complex scenarios,
Mm.
see perception. They are able to perceive in a very sophisticated way, but make it simple to explain for other
Yeah.
people, right? So lead
Mm.
other people to expand people's perception of a situation. So, what I want to do is empower people to know that everybody's born with this.
Mm.
But because of our school system, because we're fed a lot of conditioning by media, right? We're not encouraged to explore what our own
Mm.
perception is internally. And only until you are able to do that in a nuanced way are you able to feel the momentum of change. So
Mm.
once you are able to start to feel the momentum of change in your body, then you can start to build this tornado of people collaborating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's when they connect. So
Yes.
first you need to have kind of the spectrum of these eight, right?
Well, everybody has
Different.
different
Okay.
strengths, right?
Mm.
So some people like Raiden, she can see very visually.
Yeah.
I draw with markers. I don't necessarily
Mm.
see it, but I can feel the colors. And so I
Mm.
draw these images of the energy and of the future, etc. So when you have teams of people who have different perceptive capacities and you're able to express what you're feeling or seeing or sensing to each other with a shared vocabulary, which is the purpose of the Supersense framework, then you can start to orchestrate resonance and say, I think we need to spin up the momentum in this area or with this
Yeah.
community. This part has a hole. We need to fill in the science or the engineering of this part. But what's
Mm.
great about AI is that there's a very fast validating feedback loop. So what I'm teaching people now who are very interested in creating new models like currency flows, economic models, policy changes, etc. I'm working with a few of those people to show them how do you take the insights that you're getting, trust them by validating with a small group of people who also are in touch with these senses, but then use AI to immediately validate what you were sensing. And so it turns out that this form of hackathon, you can invent something that would have normally taken years, like on the
Yeah.
edge of science, and do it within 3 days.
Huh.
It's incredible.
So that abstractness that it comes to you to this kind of power that we all have, AI can read it. Yeah, like
Well,
with
I'll
your
give you a
drawing.
very, like, brief example. We're not gonna, like, go into a huge example, but tell me something that you're interested in exploring now, like, something that you're
Uh,
interested in model. that you want to change for the better?
Um, the understanding of the value of water in Mexico, for example.
Okay, I love
Like,
that.
mm,
I love that. So I'm going to go a little bit fast, but I'm also going to try to go slow it down to
yeah.
explain what it is that I'm doing. And it might seem like magic, but what it is that I practice this every day. So I go really fast. So it's a
Mm,
little bit like when I first started playing pianos, I didn't even know what keys to push. I didn't even know where to like put my fingers, like this, right? So so over time you learn how to play scales, and then you learn how to like do improv, and I never got to that point. I just played classical. But
yeah.
the point is like you could start to play Chopin or Bach inventions or something like that. But that takes time and practice. So what I'm
Mm,
going to show you is something that everybody can do. It's not magic, but I'm going to do it really fast so it might seem like magic. Okay?
yeah.
I'm just going to explain. All right, I'm gonna, as much as possible in a short period of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of feel Mexico. So every place, location has a frequency. So, Mexico, okay, Mexico, Mexico, okay, and I'm going to think about water, water,
Mm,
water. So water has a frequency as well. And what I'm just going to say is like, I'm just going to ask my intuition, my higher self is what I call it. You can call it the cloud database in the sky. I'm, computer science from MIT, so I joke that's what I'm tapping into with an Ethernet cable to the cloud database of the sky. So I'm like, okay, well, show me what's most important to know right now. I'm not going to have the complete answer, but right now, where I'm at with my understanding, with my vocabulary, what is the most important thing for soul and us to look at? So I'm just going to tap in. Show me. So I'm just asking, I'm having a conversation. So you start to have a conversation with yourself. Some people do this from childhood, right? Some people lose it
mm,
as they grow up.
mm,
So I'm just going through. Is it finance, econ, people? Yes. So something with people. Is it something with community? Yes. Is it Ahupua'a system? Yes. Okay. So I'm doing a shortcut because I already have all this experience. So
mm,
I live in Hawaii, and the ancient Hawaiians have this model of community stewardship, communal stewardship of water flows from the clouds touching the
mm,
mountains all the way to the sea. So
yeah.
Ahupua'a is basically the wedge of the mountains because there's high mountains here, volcanoes, right? So you can
Mm,
actually see where the clouds touch and create waterfalls every day here. And then if you can literally see, I live 10 minutes from the beach, so you could see the Ahupua'a wedge. So the ali'i, the chiefs, were all in charge of these wedges called
mm,
Ahupua'a, okay? Apostrophe a. So every place in the world has this indigenous wisdom by a different name. And
mm,
Mexicans, I'm sure they have
yeah.
some sort of name for this, communal
Mm,
watership. Oh, sorry, not watership. Oh, that's a good name. It's communal
yeah.
stewardship of water. Okay. Oh, I
Mm,
like that, watership.
yeah.
So
Watership.
so it wants to so now what we did was we basically birthed this new stream this of frequency, basically this idea between you and I. We're birthing an idea. Okay, so it sort of like wants to come out, like it just spurts out of me,
Mm,
because I've practiced like kung fu, right? I'm like a Mikhail I can't pronounce his name. Sorry, some Michael Phelps or something of swimming, whereas
yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just the whole body's in tune with the water, right? So now we've birthed an idea. It wants to come out. It wants to express itself. So now I'm going to use question architecture. I'm going to say, okay, well, what is it that you want me to say to soul? What is it that we need to know right now? It's unfolding. This idea is unfolding like a lotus blossom
Yeah.
unfolding.
Yeah.
Okay? So is it mechanics? Is it it's blocks, okay? So usually there's like three things. So in Taoism, we say balance, flow, and harmony. So balance is like the buoy, balance, off balance, right? Flow, that's very easy. It's blocks. It's like dams are blocking the the water,
Mm.
right? Blocks
Mm.
energy flows. And then that creates inflammation, it creates heat, it creates chronic pain in a body. And then harmony is another way to say coherence, which is another way to say no contradictory forces in a system.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
So resonance, sympathetic resonance. There's all these more scientific way to say this. It's like a tuning fork, right? Where
Yeah.
everybody starts to
Mm.
vibrate at the same frequency. It's like a guitar string. If you pluck one guitar string, the one next to it starts to vibrate at the same frequency.
Mm.
So what I'm getting is it balanced? No. So see, I'm checking with my higher self, and this is easy to teach people. You could do it through muscle testing, pendulums, whatever, but it's your body pulling to a magnetic flow of yes or no. Yes and no are poles of a
Mm.
compass, of a magnet,
Mm.
right? So you can
Yeah.
feel sort of north and south of a magnet. If you're sensitive to this, you can start to build yes and no. You can program yourself. Yes is one way, no is another. So I'm saying, is it balance that we were talking about? No. Is it flow? Yes. Is it harmony? No. So at this moment, it wants me to communicate to you this idea wants me to unfold for you something about blocked flows. And actually, I'm coughing in order to
Yeah.
release that block, right? So I'm going to go in and I'm going to try and use my inner knowing and my experience to ask questions, ask the right questions. Because just like rubbing a bottle and having the genie ask you for 3 wishes, if you don't say the wishes right, you're going to get some unexpected, outcome. So
Mm.
it's very important to ask the right question. So I'm just going to close my eyes just so I'm not focused on you. I'm focused on this
Mm.
idea.
Mm.
And I'm very sensitive, so I'm expressing these blocks as a cough. And is it physical blocks? Is it money blocks? Is it policy blocks? Okay, so as policy blocks are the thing that it wants me to focus on. Is it the what do you call it? The yes. Okay, what is the word for this? Okay, it's talking about like property division. So
Mm.
I'm getting sort of like a combination of sort of imagery and words, phrases. So because I'm forgetting the word. What is it when you have a water flow and the land on each side?
Oh yeah.
Uh, there's a word for
Aqueduct?
that.
Is it aqueduct? Like
No, it's offset or something like that. It's the land on either side of the water. So
mm.
usually you're not supposed to build right up to the water, otherwise the pollution goes straight into the water. So the what happened was like Hawaiians, the native Hawaiians, there was a kingdom with this very sophisticated system called Ahupua'a. There was a queen, all that stuff, right? And in 1893, the church and a few of the large private companies here conspired with the US military to basically imprison the queen, take
Mm.
over Hawaii they annexed the state into the United States. And so then they started to divide the property instead of
Mm.
communally storing it. So there was no private land ownership before this, right? Then what happened was they divided into land, and you can imagine if you have private lots all along the water stream, some people are not going to pay attention to the quality of the water or the water flow for their downstream
Mm.
neighbors.
Mm.
So then everything below that blocks.
Yeah.
And then they make decisions not in a way to preserve the water flow, but only for their own little property,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And so this is where the problem comes in, and this is why you have landslides, you have invasive trees where the roots start to block water flows,
Mm.
flumes, irrigation canals might be blocked. Like people need to really pay attention to the quality of water downstream. You have to
Yeah.
really love the people downstream from you, right?
Mm.
So what I'm getting is that there needs to be new policies, right, that basically carve out the strips of land I can't believe I forgot the name of this, but the strips of land on either side, and let the people who really care for the water flow do their thing in the indigenous way, right? There,
Mm.
Andrew Millison, who came here and did a whole documentary on our Ahupua'a system, actually did a series in Mexico
Okay.
on the way people grow in land,
Yeah.
sorry, in water, like little islands. I forget the term of that. I'm sorry. I've
Uh,
been just going through
I
catastrophic
know it.
storms. Language is a little bit.
I know exactly what you mean, but I don't know the word in English either. Because Mexico, it's
The
built on water. Like it's kind of
Yes,
like
they're
a
like little
floating.
islands.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So he did a whole series of that. Andrew Millison. You could
Andrew
Mexico. You
Wilson.
could look that
Yeah,
up, right?
I'll have a look.
So I know that the indigenous everywhere have terms for
Mm.
water flow and communal stewardship, right? And so this is the most important model for anybody anywhere in any community, even if you're not living directly with indigenous, right? It's important
Yeah.
to rebuild with modern technology
Mm.
ability to manage this whole from the clouds creating the
Mm.
water all the way down to where
Yeah.
it touches the ocean. And in
Yeah.
the US and the mainland, that's a long way. It could be going from Canada all the
Mm.
way from Mississippi Delta down to New Orleans. So so the problem is that an individual is not going to see that long water stream, water flow. So they're not going
Mm.
to care, right? Express caring for all their neighbors. So you need partly government policy, partly indigenous wisdom, partly everybody to care about
Yeah.
their water neighbors. So that's an example. I'm not going to go any further, but what I would do then is continue to ask these questions and say, okay, do you want me to come up with a policy? And then I would do. I'm doing this now with other people, but I would start to ask is for words and phrases, and then I would put it into AI. I'm like, I'm sensing that this is important. I'm sensing this is important in Mexico. What are the current policies around this? Right? Then I would look and they might spit out like three options. And then I might
Mm.
feel like a draw to option one, two, or three. And I'll be like, okay, within three, I'm getting a draw that this phrase is really important. And I'm getting a
Mm.
sense that it needs to be changed to this. And then I type that into AI and then it continues to play with me and expand. And then very quickly, within 2 hours, I guarantee you, you have this entire new policy.
Yeah.
Then you start to ask, like, how do you make this where all the financial incentives are really getting everybody to want to make this happen, right? We're not pushing, we're not protesting. These new models of currency need to benefit ancestral lands and ancestors, right? Descendants going forward, but it needs to be like regenerative is not the word. It's really about, oh, I just lost you again. I don't know if I should keep talking. I'm gonna I'm gonna let you edit this out, but I'm gonna keep talking. So so the point is that every single actor needs to be rewarded for contributions. And it goes from words like recipients or beneficiaries or payers to stewards, legacy stewards. So the model really needs to go to stewardship.
Hello, Peggy.
Oh,
I'm so
hey.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
no worries, no
I'm
worries.
con-
I'm just multitasking.
I'm concerned about your time. Because this is,
No worries. I have till 11:30 and then I have my next meeting. So let's just keep going and
let's keep
get
going.
through it.
Oh,
Does it
thank
sound
you.
good?
Thank you so much. Perfect.
You're welcome.
Super.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm trying to think what I was talking about though. No, I got distracted.
yeah. I think we were talking about the super senses and the kind of structure, and you were working on the water, and to give me an example, which was amazing, kind of in Mexico, and you were
And
kind
I
of
think we're
getting
talking about what were we talking about? Oh my God. Okay. Let's just keep
yeah, we can
let's
move
just
on
keep going.
to the next question, which is kind of your purpose and drive. Yeah, and here is kind of rewinding a little bit. What sparked you to do what you're doing? What was kind of that defining moment that you decided to kind of pivot to kind of from an environmentalist out there to help people to become an environmentalist inside?
Okay, the first sentence got cut off. You started to stagger. What were you saying? Something? But
It's
what would you like me to talk about?
yes, it's kind of a rewinding a little bit. What sparked you to start doing what you're doing? You know, to from the
Yeah.
environmentalist that it's out there, but also kind of, ah, oh my God, this is,
Can you see me?
yeah, I see you, but it's kind of like suddenly losing you. Yeah, what
I
kind
wonder
of,
if
what was,
that's me.
hmm?
Is that me or is that you? One
No, I
second. I'm
think,
just gonna shift. I'm gonna shift Wi-Fi routers. One second.
yes, thank you.
Okay. Do you want to start the recording?
Yes, it is recording. It hasn't stopped, so I will edit, so it's no problem. So the recording is ongoing.
Okay. Oh,
But
okay. Okay. Do you want to ask the question again?
yes,
Sorry, do you want to ask the question again?
yes. So
Okay.
stepping into your purpose and drive, let's rewind a bit. And what sparked you your founder journey in the first place? What was that defining moment?
Well, okay, so honestly, I've been a serial entrepreneur, so I'm just going to focus on juice, which is the last sort of thing that I'm known for in this context as an
Mm,
environmentalist,
mm,
starting joint US-China collaboration on clean energy.
mm.
And I would say the answer that I gave when I was actually doing juice is different than the one that I would actually do
Yeah.
now, give you now, because now I have a lot more wisdom. I will say I'm looking back in hindsight,
Mm,
right? So let me just give you the answer that I'm going to give you now, which is I realize that actually environmentalism is a sensitivity to being out of touch,
mm,
not in balance, not connected to everything that is.
mm.
So we use this term environment or nature as if it's something else
Yeah.
outside of us,
Yeah.
right? But what I've realized is it's just this uncomfortable feeling
Mm.
that we as environmentalists, we're very sensitive to when something's not right. Like,
Yeah.
what does it mean to be not right? It means, okay, the water's not flowing,
Mm,
something's blocked,
mm,
right? Oh, red held a oil leak, fuel oil just like
mm.
spilled into the ocean, the toxicity. We don't have to live there to feel it. Like we feel the whole earth, there's something not right,
Yes.
right? Or if we feel like, parts of cities are built where people are just not supposed to live that way
Mm,
and we're uncomfortable, with the interior or the neighbors, the buildings being too close, or the lack of sun because of the way they're built. We just don't feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
There's something off, right? So I'm just going to use really simple words to explain something that's very deep and very like Tao, right?
Mhm.
Taoism, right?
Yeah.
Which is a harmony with nature is like man and nature are not different things, right? And so if you are sensitive, you most likely are an environmentalist because you are sensitive to these things that are off. So
Mm.
balance, flow, and harmony, right?
Mm.
Coherence. So I am just really sensitive for a variety of reasons. The way that I was brought up, my grandfather was a grandmaster of a Taoist sect with 1 million people in Taiwan when I was growing up, and he never talked about Taoism in a you know a structured way, but he
Mm.
would point and he would say, "See that mountain peak? I chose this land because that peak is good for our descendants' education." Right? Or he would come and help my father choose a land, my parents choose a land to build on. And he would say the stream needs to be in the front, and
Yeah.
then we need to have the mountain on our back. So he would
Mm.
say all these things. And then Chinese people generally are talking about this is off because the heat and the dampness, traditional Chinese medicine, they're not in balance. They're always talking about your diet, right? When you have babies, I had 2,
Mm.
they take 30 days to make sure that your diet basically balances this heat and dampness, um, red colors, iron, and they're just very sophisticated.
Yeah.
And so I just like grew up absorbing all this stuff,
Mm.
right? And so now I realize, okay, I had this like very um, in touch with ancient wisdom side of me. And then I had this sort of McKinsey, MIT, like
Yeah.
Silicon Valley side of me. And I just subconsciously put them together.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was able to take a breath after we sort of shut down the on the ground juice programs due to COVID.
Mm.
And I had this time to reflect. I was alone, right?
Mm.
Like everybody else. I didn't even have my family around me. So I was really alone. So I just had this time to reflect, and I realized, wow, what I have been doing is using my senses
Mm.
to see if something's off balance or if something is gaining momentum, if something is shifting in the right direction, if a trend is building positively or negatively, right?
Mm.
And I'm able to react fast.
Yeah.
So I'm able to make decisions really quickly. And so, what I want people to do is just be in touch with their own innate abilities that you are born with because you have this human body.
Mm.
And modern science tells us this, but not everybody has the experience to tie all this new science together into one story.
Yeah.
So, because I've been able to experience how to use both this sort of insight from the Ethernet to the cloud database in the sky, right?
Mm.
And then apply analytics to it. I can explain how to do this within a
Yeah.
framework. That's basically what I'm interested in
And how, for
today.
example, was the reaction when you presented these, the purpose, the super senses, when you presented the purpose, sorry, the super senses in Davos? Like, how do you face that audience? Um,
Well, I mean, I think you would be surprised.
yeah.
I think the group is like 180 people that are part of an energetic health group on
Mm.
WhatsApp
Mm.
from the World Economic Forum that I
Okay.
run, right?
Yeah.
And so think about it. People who are extraordinarily successful at a young age, do you think that they're smarter than other people? That they're just crunching numbers better than other people? No. They're using insight.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily call it that. They don't have the vocabulary for that, which is why I have the super senses framework, right? I'm trying to give words to
Yeah.
how is it that they're successful. So
Mm.
the best I'm going to gift all of your viewers a link to this course that I launched at
Cool.
Davos.
Mm.
Okay, and it has a quiz, your quizzes, so you can see which ones you're more actively using
Mm.
of the 8 super senses.
Yes.
But one of the best models is Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. He's very intuitive, full of
Mm.
insight, super
Mm.
sensitive. So one of the first things that he did was give his board nonviolent communication book.
Yeah.
And then he brought in all this leadership training with different modalities from EQ to color wheel to whatever, right? I interviewed a GM at Microsoft,
Mm.
and he was actually the one who encouraged me to do this for CEOs and leaders. So, um, what Satya was trying to do was create a vocabulary, a framework
Yeah.
to train his leadership team
Yeah.
to think in the way that he does,
Yeah.
in so that other people can be as successful as he is.
Mm.
So part of it is trust in your own insight, and
Mm.
that requires other people to validate at the same time.
Yeah.
So teamwork, even if it's just 3 people together that are all energetically sensitive and can feel like
Mm.
how I
Yeah. Yeah.
demonstrated, right? Get insights, and you validate, and you'll see everybody. If over time, if you journal and work with the same team and learn how to express what you're sensing to each other, you
Mm.
will see that most likely 90% of the time you're all sensing something is happening. And then
Yeah.
over time, you build this vocabulary to be able to interpret
Mm.
those senses
Mm.
and then apply it to your context, to your team's purpose.
Yes.
So this is why I'm writing this book, Super Senses, Your Human Edge, right, in the age of AI. So,
Mm.
sorry, your your human edge in leadership.
Yeah.
So it's your ability to use AI with your humanness to go even farther.
Yeah.
But if you do it as a team, then what happens is you have diversity in super senses because everybody is active in different super senses.
Yeah.
And so, depending on your team's purpose, let's call it innovation, what you want is people who are strong in inner knowing. So, just yes, it's that way.
Mm.
You want people who have strong foresight. So, I see this in the future, like Isaac Asimov, right? All the sci
Mm.
fi people or movie directors, they just see
Yeah.
it. And then inner images, so a lot of the being able to visualize it, right? And then a lot of the signal weaving, the versions of synesthesia with numbers,
Mm.
especially time, scenarios,
Mm.
textures,
Mm.
shapes, patterns, right? So so if you have diversity in this group and you have overlapping, then you're able to really get coverage and perceptive capacity.
Yeah.
Because really it's about how do you see possibility?
Yeah.
And not one person can do it all. So that's why teams, small teams that learn how to communicate together can sort of, I like to call it an awareness diamond. So
Mm.
imagine reality of this future that you want to build together is like a diamond, and you're all coloring in different facets of the diamond together. Some
Yeah.
people are going to color in more of these, some here, and then, but together you can start to see the shape of a diamond. It's the whole elephant, right? The
Yeah.
blind man and the elephant analogy. So I think that a lot of people were going in the same right direction when they were trying to do diversity programs in gender or race,
Mm.
but they didn't really get it because it's not about gender and race. It's about diversity and super senses. And
Yeah.
it turns out that depending on your background, your gender or you
Mm.
know lived, where you
Yeah.
grew up, or your ethnicity, then you will have different super senses active.
Yeah.
That's all.
And it's kind of
So
like a new language, or
yeah,
because that's the way I feel, and what it comes to me is kind of a relief that this is possible because I feel a lot of
yeah,
things. I'm very
yeah,
sensitive as well, but and I guess we all are, but it's kind of from this awareness to action. That's what we're missing, and that's where you're
yeah.
working. Yeah.
Yes. And so the book is going to have very tactical exercises
Mm.
for each of the super senses. You can ask yourself, are you actively using it?
Yeah.
If not, you can start to train if you're interested. Not
Yeah.
everybody is good at everything, right? It's not like I can be a trapeze artist and Michael Phelps and, all this stuff, right? You have to sort of choose, sorry, your battles,
Yeah.
but or focuses. Let me not
Mm.
use the word battles.
Mm.
So the book will sort of help you self-identify which super senses you really want to focus in. Then tactical exercises as a group. How do you express it? So vocabulary, how to
Mm.
journal over time, and then how to use AI in addition to your super senses to create new models, new technologies, right? New actions, new currency flows, etc.
Mm.
Um, so I'm all about, sort of workbook style books. My first book, Mesmerize the Media, was a little bit of how to sense
Yeah.
audience,
Mm.
but then how do you actually deliver the right sound bites? How do you
Mm.
present yourself physically? How do you walk
Yeah.
onto a stage? It's very tactical because you have to have everything in order
Yeah.
to make things manifest in the real life. You have to have all those phases. I'm gonna do something fun for you though.
Yes.
Would you like to know what your super senses are?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
And the main thing is to give you a language to express what you're
Mhm.
good at so that you can communicate with other people who are also good at these things.
Yeah.
And then you can explore together.
Mm.
And then together you'll start to branch out and create your own language,
Yeah.
right? And then you can really amplify each other. So
Mm.
this is the key.
Mm.
Okay. So what I'm going to do again is not magic. I've trained every single day. I've done this for thousands of people, world leaders to kids, babies even, right? And what it is I'm trying to empower you to recognize yourself, to see yourself,
Yeah.
and not to think that these are just something interesting that I feel something, I don't know, I'm really sensitive, but you have no way to value it.
Mm.
So what I want to do is gift people
Mm.
these assessment techniques.
Mm.
Some of it can be done through self-discovery. Some of it, you can hire me and I do it for all the leaders in a team,
Mm.
right? So that you can know how to compose teams
Yeah.
for diverse super senses, diverse perceptive capacities. But I'm going to do this for you just as an example.
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to do is tap into your frequency. So
Mm.
the radio program that is soul. And I'm going to ask you in your native language, right? What name were you born with? Can you
Mm.
just say that 3 times so I can hear
Three
it?
times. Soledad.
Yeah.
Soledad. Soledad.
Okay. So that's beautiful. And do you have a last name also?
Medina.
Okay. That's it. Okay. So, all right. So I can tell like you're super energetically sensitive.
Mm.
Okay. Actually, a lot of people who live in Norway, because I've been so many times, maybe it's self-selection, but a lot of people that I've interacted with are extraordinarily sensitive. Maybe it's because there's so many of the northern lights, so you're closer to all the electromagnetic activity. I don't know, or you have to be really in tune with nature.
Mm.
My friend Nina Jensen, who used to head World Wildlife Fund there and now is in charge of Rev Ocean,
Yeah.
she's like, I've been with her and her kids in like Lofoten, and she's super in touch with like the fish, the
Yes.
nature, fires and all this stuff. So, I think there's something about the Norwegians that is already much more sensitive than
Mm.
other people who live in cities, let's say in New York. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So inner knowing. So I would say you're activated, but you're like sort of 5 out of 10. So you can trust yourself more.
Mm.
The only way to do that is to start journaling. Like
Okay.
like, and you can work with AI. Okay.
Mm.
So you can say, give me 20 questions that are yes, no questions or multiple choice. And I'm just going to say, this is what I feel. This is what I sense. It's this option, yes, no, or this option of multiple choice. And then just see how things play out.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an easy exercise.
Mm.
Foresight. You're very activated in what the future is going to hold. The way that I view time is that there is momentum building, like a tornado building towards a future. There's many futures, but some have more probability than others. Okay. You're just really sensitive to feeling that momentum. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You have clear, so you're hearing voices, sounds. Okay. You can continue to work on this. It's sort of 5 out of 10, but the type of sound also matters. Okay. So harmonies. So most likely you like sophisticated music. I don't hear harmonies. I'm more of a melody gal. So I'm more like pop, the classical and the jazz is like a little bit, um, not ashamed to say that.
Yeah.
And inner images. So you're very vivid visualizer. You're a very vivid, you're very vivid dreamer, almost like you're going out of body and like in that reality. Okay. So if you can sort of lean into that and just say, hey, that's not just me dreaming. That is a new reality. I'm going to play in it. And actually, I'm going to ask myself before I go to sleep to go explore a certain place or a certain future or a certain technology. You'll be surprised what comes out of your dreams. And again, journaling is the key to this, to see how you progress. And detail, more and more nuanced detail is the key, right? Planetary attunement, I mean, you're doing this podcast. So you're 10 out of 10 attuned to the planet. Certainly water, for sure. Okay. I mean, I don't need to have this background in order to know that you're in tune with water. Just the name of the podcast, you asked me about water, right? But you're very called to the water. You're sensitive to weather changes and solar flares. So for you, it's very important to watch the solar flares spikes that we're getting. So right now we're going through an X class flare, which is like the worst class, like a geomagnetic storm of 3 out of 5. So it's good for you to watch like the YouTube channel of Stefan Burns, Stefan Burns, or just look at solar flares activity every single day, because we're in the midst of a solar maximum. So the poles are shifting, right, for the sun. And we're the last 2 years, we've been slammed with M class, X class solar flares. So for you, especially with the Northern Lights, you're really sensitive. So what you can start to journal is, there was an M class or X class flare, and this is how I felt. This is how my body felt. Maybe I had heart palpitations, constriction. Maybe I had dizziness. Maybe I had migraines. Maybe I felt this, that, this, right? So it's very important for you to start to correlate. Okay.
And my name means
sun. Okay. I know enough of Spanish that I figured that one out. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
And what does Medina? Does Medina mean day, or am I off? What is Medina?
I don't know what it means, but my full name is Soledad, which is solitude, and the other one is sunshine or sun.
Okay. Yeah. So for sure, you should be paying attention to the shifts, because it's like at the max. And this is why the world is going through such angst. Well, okay. One of the reasons of why everybody is going through all this violence right now is because they don't understand. They're very sensitive to these flares. Actually, if you look at the earthquakes, they're directly related to the seismic, the magnitude, the size of earthquakes. So just, I think a few days ago, we had a series of 7 to 5 point magnitude earthquakes right around Tonga, offshore Tonga. So if you watch earthquakes, you'll see a direct correlation. But that also, if it's going to affect the land, it's going to affect our bodies. So a lot of people don't understand that, and then they act out in violence. Right? So you also have like 5 different types of signal weaving combinations. So if you think about permutations and you think about all the things that I talked about already, you can imagine there's over 100 different types of combinations. But I've read probably over 80 different types of combinations in like CEO level leaders. So
Yeah.
for you, having 5 different types of signal weaving, it tells me that you're a CEO level thinker.
Hmm.
Okay. But so specifically, you're sort of, if you want to call it genius, but really it's about perceptive capacity. You
Hmm.
can see this more clearly. The word genius is really just this hand wave word to talk about these combinations of signal weaving. Okay.
Hmm.
So the first one that you have is numbers and shapes. So pattern recognition. Are
Hmm.
you strong in like geometric, like sacred geometry, patterns, visual things? Are you
Yeah, I'm
called to
very
that?
visual. Yeah. Or yeah.
And do you see patterns? Like, do you like repetition or shapes?
I do. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So like if you're Indian, I would say, do you like sacred geometry?
Mm.
You know? So the second one you have is numbers and textures. So you're very good at looking at something that's complex, like multi-layered, but simplifying it.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So not everybody has that, but it's really useful as a CEO because there's so many projects going on. It's so complex. There's all these threads going on. You have to be able to keep them all together like multiple layers of chess.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm.
So this resonates with you so far?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And
I
then
love
the
that. I love
yeah,
that challenge of with technology, for example, not to
yeah.
understand thing, and then suddenly cracking and making it accessible to
Yes.
or in simpler ways of understanding.
That's numbers and textures. That's for
Hmm.
you. A lot of, again, people who are CEOs have this combination. The third one is numbers and sounds. So beats. So because you have inner voice, hearing harmonies,
Hmm.
and numbers and sounds combination, I know you're a musician. Okay. So you either really love
I
harmony,
do love. Yeah.
sorry, classical or jazz, or you can play instruments.
Hmm.
So people who don't have this don't have it, right?
No,
But
I
people
don't
who
play
have
any
it,
instrument, but I love music.
okay, what kind of music do you like?
um, I'm actually quite. I love any kind of music. Yeah,
So very diverse
very diverse.
music taste. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, if you catch me I'm usually watching American Idol, like pop. So a lot of people who have these senses take it for granted
Yeah.
that it's a super sense. They don't, because if I were to tell you if I were to tell you you have a strong sense of smell,
Mm.
how are you supposed to know that you have a stronger sense of smell than I do?
Mm.
You can't really compare it,
No.
right? You just take it for granted.
Yeah.
Does that
Mm.
make sense? So
Yeah.
having this vocabulary and working in teams to compare
Yeah.
and express is really important to get to know yourself,
Yeah.
because then you can see what somebody else has more of or less of.
Yeah. I
So
need to do this with Birgit. Have you done this with Birgit? Does she know
who?
this kind of with Birgit Lioden from Tool?
Oh, Birgit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My American. That is not how I pronounce the Norwegian. The Norwegian is such a beautiful language, and I don't have the gift. I don't have the super sense of language. This is so.
Yeah.
I have not, but we
Mm.
can have her on and for
That
sure
would
do it
be
with Birgit. That would be
cool.
really fun. Um, okay, so let me just go on. I think you have two more. One is numbers and energy flows. So you're really good at seeing trends.
Yeah.
So trends and premonition, or like forecasting, foresight is, generally speaking, you can see where the world is going
Mm.
because you have a combination of these two things,
Yeah.
right? And you can see it in complexity because you have numbers and textures, numbers and shapes. You can also see patterns repeating itself, like history repeating itself. And then the last one is numbers and colors. So you can probably see infographics. So you would probably be really
Yeah.
good at creating or understanding
Yeah.
infographics.
I
So
need them.
actually, like, I don't know anything about you, but like if I were to hire you as an executive recruiter and somebody called me to fill in, let's say, a water company,
Mm.
CEO, like
Mm.
I would call you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm.
Does that resonate? Tell
Yes.
me like how
Yes.
you feel. Like,
Because it is exciting. It is, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm just having weird things going on now. Is that normal?
Okay, so
Like,
I move energy.
yeah, I'm seeing things. Is that
Yeah,
normal?
yeah, yeah.
Or
Well, I told
memories?
you you have
Or,
your images. Yeah, I told you you're very visual,
yeah,
right? I'm confirming for you.
yeah,
So one of the things that I do is I do remote energy
mm,
transmutation work.
yeah,
So this is more advanced maybe than the scope of this podcast. But if you think of everything just like all of reality is just frequency and sound.
mm,
So because I'm an electrical engineer, my first toy at MIT was an oscilloscope. So you
yeah,
can change the dial and see the different amplitudes, the waveforms,
yeah,
sinusoidal waveforms. So that was like, I was really drawn to that.
yeah,
I don't know if that's oscilloscope, you could look it up, but surfs, waves, right? So I'm very fascinated with how waves interact,
mm,
constructive and destructive interference, right? Bose noise canceling here's headsets, that their algorithm is basically if you have noise, you can
mm,
cancel it with an exact opposite
yeah,
wave, and
yeah,
it creates a standing wave,
yeah,
right? Still water. So
mm,
like I'm very drawn to that. And there's something called like longitudinal waves versus scalar waves. So longitudinal waves is just like I have to drive my car 10 miles to go see Seoul.
mm,
Okay. That's like distance,
mm,
right? That's the way, that's a unit of measurement that humans have created in order to understand this sort of illusion of space-time.
yeah,
Okay. But really the world works, the universe, all of reality works more like two tornadoes upside down from each other, or an hourglass that's moving on
mm,
both sides,
mm,
right? And then it goes around, it cycles around. So this is called a toroidal form,
mm,
toroidal flow, torus, toroid, Toroid.
mm,
And so if you just Google that and look at images, you'll see that there is no ending, there is no beginning, there's only cyclical
yeah,
loop, continuous. And this toroid can expand and contract like a heartbeat,
mm,
expand and contract, expand and contract, right? And so because everything like goes through the middle of the hourglass, there's
yeah,
this point that's very narrow in the middle. Everything has to recycle
mm,
through, it needs to implode before it explodes. It
mm,
needs to be destroyed before it's created.
yeah,
It needs to die before it's reborn, right? So the world, humanity is sort of going through this process of going through the 0 point,
mm,
this narrow window of the hourglass.
mm,
Okay. So what I do, I learned since 1989 from a Qigong master, Qigong,
mm,
Qi. It's the Chinese way to say scalar waves, right? So I learned how to feel and project this energy so you can push and pull it. So your entire life, billions of times a second, you are doing this, but you're not understanding what you're doing as a human being as you go through life, making choices, looking at your reality, you are doing this with the waves, but they show up like physical matter or an emotion or
Mm.
a,
Mm.
a physical action like a
Yeah.
punch, right?
Yeah.
But if you understand that everything actually is like, imagine everything's invisibly doing this, that's chi, right? So imagine like Jedi Knights, Star Wars, Jedi Force.
Sorry.
So Jedi Force, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you go whoosh, like that is chi,
Yeah.
right? So I've just been really lucky, blessed, or maybe this was my calling. But in 1989, my father brought me to meet a new person in town in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And it was one of the top chi masters in China who had moved to that area. And I started to
Yeah.
train with him. And so it allowed me to turn off my mind, which was very strong,
Mm.
but it was a block to
Mm.
feeling everything, right? So it forced me to shut off my mind and just to
Yeah.
feel, right? So what you're doing when you're getting all these feelings is like I'm projecting energy just by
Mm.
talking to you, by looking at you. And also when I do these, like I'm feeling a yes, no pull, a magnetic pull, because everything is electromagnetic force. So this toroidal flow is a flow of electromagnetic field
Yes.
changing, right?
Mm.
So when I'm tapping into this frequency that is soledad, right? Soul, and I'm reading your super senses, I'm feeling a yes pull or a no push repelling.
Mm.
And so you're feeling, because you're sensitive, you're actually feeling me feeling you
Yeah.
because I'm in your field.
Yeah.
We're interacting. So, I mean, if you want the science, like if you look at quantum entanglement, I'm not going to talk too much about that because that's a whole nother podcast. But quantum entanglement, China just did 870-mile demonstration of quantum entanglement of two particles. So
Oh.
just generally, it's basically if one thing acts this way here, this same particle 870 miles does the
Mm.
same exact thing.
Mm.
Basically, we're like interacting. We're
Yeah.
enmeshed. Enmeshed
Yeah.
is a better word.
Yeah.
Entanglement is a very technical word.
Mm.
So you and I in this conversation are enmeshed. And
Mm.
because I'm really feeling your field when I'm feeling this magnetic pull push, you're feeling me feeling you. And so this is the quantum enmeshment,
Yeah.
right? What spiritualists will say, we're all one,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like that's what they mean, but they're not necessarily giving you a very physical
No.
example. I'm giving you a physical example
No,
of how it works.
yeah, like you're blowing my mind, basically. And like I went off track with the questions for the podcast, to be
Oh,
honest.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
with this because
We're
it's
playing.
really, yeah, we're playing, and it's seeing kind of, it's something that I've been asking for so long. Since I think since I was a child, like
Yeah.
feeling this injustice, like yeah, it's a feeling of discomfort, that it's yeah, it was all about the environment, or it was all about social injustice, or it's all about certain things that you just say this is wrong, but
Yeah.
you don't have
The
the
vocabulary.
education or the vocabulary to
Yeah.
put this in context. And it, it it's almost like, where can I continue learning about this? And I think we all should continue learning about this,
Yeah.
because yeah, my flow on the questions of the podcast is like, you as a founder, but you are kind of like a superpower, like
I've been
having,
known to be called a tornado myself.
yeah,
I am a
like
tornado. Yeah.
like
I mean,
like
you are too, though. Well, you are too. The key, because you're very sensitive. I just told you you have a lot of super senses. This is an unusual number of super senses.
mm,
The key is to trust yourself.
Mm.
because our society has not told us that this is valuable.
Yeah.
They've said we are a machine that should be in a factory and trained like we're a factory machine in school.
Mm.
So they're not valuing the human part of us. So what I'm trying to do is say, you have this ability within you. You just need to express it, start expressing it,
Mm.
start to experience it, start to find a couple people like Birgit,
Mm.
right? And play.
Mm.
Start to, again, journal and play with AI, let it track on a thread, like your, hit rate, so to speak,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, you asked about my legacy. My legacy is to have people feel whether something is in balance and in flow and in harmony more, because that will help them realize that everything about our environment is not in harmony with our human being, physical being. It's
Mm.
not healthy,
No.
right? So when we're off balance, when we're blocked, no energy flow, when we're incoherent and have spikes or holes in our field, that over time that creates disease,
Mm.
headaches, confusion, emotional heaviness, right? Violence,
Yeah.
anger, right?
Yeah.
And this is why we have catastrophic rains in the last 2 weeks here in Hawaii, because
Mm.
the water is cleansing
Mm.
everything. This
Mm.
is why we have all this violence and fire and destruction, is because, like, people don't understand, but this system doesn't work. It's imbalanced. It's not in flow. So we are unknowingly, what we're doing is clearing the way for people like you who have very vivid visions of the future to trust yourself, to
Mm.
learn to express these visions, to
Yeah.
take it through every single phase, through science and engineering, or vision to science to engineering to construction, material science, right? Deployment and actually using it day to day,
Mm. And
and
how,
so
for
on and so
example, yeah, how can, you know, other entrepreneurs or investors, like, there's a whole ecosystem, and we were talking this morning about it, like, it's a new way of doing things. And
yes,
I understand it. I don't know how, but I know we're building something that
yes,
it doesn't exist. And it's very hard to kind of put that in words. So,
yeah,
but all the pieces of this ecosystem are already there.
that's
um,
right.
but it's how can we,
It's the
and I
connection.
see, yeah, I see your
Yeah,
presence, your tornado, as um, like a calling for the community, to
yeah,
kind of, how can we wake up together, and how can we learn this new language, and how can we tap into our own fields to contribute, not only in our but everybody's in their own ventures or in their own investments or whatever, to kind of, come together as a whole. And that's something that we in Tool, like, are kind of, we see it, we feel it, but
yeah.
to come across, yeah, it's
I'll give you a couple, like, very sort of call to action,
mm,
actionable next
yeah.
steps. So, I mean, the easiest is, one is, now professionally, I am an executive coach to people.
Mm.
So CEOs to politicians to, healers, etc. So they can hire me, right? I work by the hour. And then what I do is, I'm a little bit like a strategic oracle,
Mm.
right? You sort of get my background of all this business experience, awarded business experience, but plus all this other stuff that I've been demonstrating. And
Mm.
what I'm doing is I'm teaching you by modeling it,
Yeah.
right? So they can contact me via my energy website, which is peggyenergy.com,
Mm.
peggyenergy.com. And you'll see a lot of very interesting, blow your mind videos there. But I would just say, like, book me for one session so you can experience what you've experienced,
Mm.
right? Start it just so you can open a door. It's about
Yeah.
continuing to open many doors for
Mm.
yourself.
Mm.
Secondly is I do workshops for companies. So I
Mm,
come in with a leadership team, global companies. Usually I've done them in China, but normally on Zoom
mm,
is now the way that I do things. Also, I can fly out depending on when and where. But getting people there, and then what I do is I do assessments of people's super senses.
mm,
And then I can start to compose teams, and then I start to model how you work as a team, but with AI to accelerate decision making,
mm,
clarity,
mm,
perception of a situation. It all starts with perceptive capacity, learning how to color in the perception of what the diamond looks like at any moment. Okay. And then being able to make decisions rapidly with a
mm,
combination of AI and your analytics,
mm,
right? But it's leading with this insight first, right? So that needs to be modeled. And I can't do that just through a book.
mm,
You can also sign up on my website, supersenses.co.
mm.
It's just a put your email waiting list for the book to come out.
Yeah,
So Super Sciences, Your Human Edge in Leadership will be coming out. So right now, all you can do is sign in for,
the
uh, you
waiting
know,
list.
the mailing list.
Mm,
I'm going to leave you the link to. I'm going to gift everybody who's listening
thank you.
the. Uh, it's just a short introduction to super senses with self-discovery quizzes and cases of successful CEOs using the super senses.
Mm,
So that is the course that I launched at Davos in 2026. So I'll gift that to you and anybody who you'd like to share that with.
thank you.
Um, so I think those are all the immediate calls to action. And if anybody wants to reach me, they can go through you.
Mm,
Okay. If they can't reach me. Um, so the other thing is that I would recommend that you find people who are also sensitive in similar ways. A
mm,
lot of people have made the mistake to try and bring together polarized opposite people or protesting against people that are not on the same wavelength.
mm.
And you really should a tornado doesn't start that way, right? Biomimicry is like, I mean, any environmentalist will know this. Let's do biomimicry, learn from the nature.
Yeah.
So if you think about a tornado, anytime you have a force that's going opposite the tornado spinning
Mm,
or in the path of the tornado, either you get spun out, pushed off to the side, or you get crushed, or you're going in the same direction in the tornado, and all the particles, large or small, in this tornado start to contribute
mm.
because you're going the same direction at the same frequency, what
Yeah.
you call the same angular momentum. This
Mm,
is my tornado leadership framework, right?
yeah.
So when you orchestrate resonance in a group with societal change, what you want is to get the people of the same frequency together
Mm,
around the same vision. More of the Birgit Leodens, the more of the Raiden Lauritsen's, more of the Nina Jensens together,
mm.
not the people you don't want or that are doing things the wrong way. You're not going to change them.
No.
It's not the fastest way to change, right?
Mm,
So I would say the first step for anybody is change the way that you're bringing groups in together. Find at least a group of 3. It's very important to have 3 people in a
mm,
group to validate each other.
mm,
You don't need more than 3, but just 3 people who really see this same way, and
mm.
then start to articulate and journal together,
Yeah.
right? So that's one. It's really important to have models for how to do this because it's a faster shortcut, and then you
Mm,
can reverse engineer how you behave to what you want to behave like. That's why in religious, spiritual groups, they have the masters, what we
mm,
call in Chinese, right?
mm,
So like I don't call myself that, but I'm a Qigong master. I'm an energy healing master. So when I work with people in today's world, we call it coaching, right? What I'm doing is I'm modeling a way of being.
yes.
So once you've seen this once, you can immediately shift your way of thinking and behaving and feeling and sensing
Mm,
to that.
Mm.
It's a shortcut. You
Mm.
don't need 10 years in a cave meditating. You just need somebody to model it once,
Yes.
maybe more than once if you really want to accelerate faster. But the door has been opened.
Mm.
So anybody seeing this podcast, a big door will have opened, and people who are really sensitive probably will feel my energy and they'll be
Mm.
like, what was that? Right. And it's not because I'm like some media celebrity trained actor, it's the energy that
Yes.
we're sharing. Right.
Yes.
And so once you realize this is real, right, there's scientific proof behind all of these 8 super senses that I've identified that will be in the book, right? Then if you have curiosity, then you go pursue that.
Mm.
Whether that's contacting me directly or as a team, as a company, or reading my book that I will hopefully finally write soon, right? Or maybe we can do a series of these together with a
Yeah,
group of people, whether on
that
a
would be
Zoom, not just
amazing.
one-on-one, right? I'm happy to do that. Like whatever it is, or find somebody that you resonate with locally.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
not a lot of people out there like me, but there are people. So the key is this, like, the I would say you're not learning a new thing. You're feeling what you remember to be true.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So so instead of viewing this conversation like I'm teaching you something that's
Mm.
new,
No, it's
your
not new. It's not
your
new.
body, you're
Yeah.
feeling your body and like, I remember this is
Yeah, I
totally
remember.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't maybe have the words for it in English, right?
Mm. Mm.
But now we've started to give a vocabulary to it.
Yeah.
So you can start to articulate either by yourself or with 3 or with more people through your podcast. And then that grows, that amplifies, because the more particles in this tornado spinning in the same direction, the more the tornado spins, the faster it spins, the larger, broader it spins.
Mm.
Right. And
Yeah.
actually, a tornado is not just like this, it's an hourglass.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it actually goes like this.
Yeah.
So it's like waves in an ocean aren't just what you see like this. It's actually circular.
Yeah.
It's cyclical.
And it's
So it's what
very,
you don't
yeah.
see that's important.
And it's really incredible the moment this conversation happens. Like you can't
Yeah.
imagine. Like it's just that's why I'm a bit speechless and I'm totally out of my yeah.
Podcast question.
Because
So here's the question for you that's, again, a next step is, can you express what you felt? Can you use words to express how you're feeling?
it's an a mega aha moment. It's like a kind of being seen, kind of being understood, kind
Yeah.
of yeah. It's
I love
kind of
that.
like it's like a huge
Relief.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hope. It's a relief. I almost felt like crying at the beginning. You were not
Yeah.
even speaking, but I was about to cry. I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" Like
Yeah. Yeah. But see,
um,
that us interacting, it's that quantum entanglement, the enmeshment, the oneness, right? So
mm,
if we can explore that with people, actually we can explore it with your cat, with your dog. Of course you can, right? Then you can start to experiment with the plants, right?
mm,
Then you can start to experiment with the clouds, the mountains,
mm,
right? Like every single aspect
yeah,
of everything is all enmeshed. So the
mm,
more you can express that, then you can say, well, where in my body did I feel that? Was it like in my chest? Was it a relief of my burden off my shoulders? When you clear things, that's what happens. Is it lighter? Is it heavier? Is it warmer? Is it colder? Is it goosebumps? Is it chills? Is it nausea? Is it, a magnetic tingling, like buzzing? There's all these words that people
yeah,
can
yeah,
use for these feelings.
yeah, yeah. Because in asking you about your journey, how did you started, who opened the door, who can you, cheer for, it suddenly, it didn't really make sense to me to keep asking you.
Well, I think the best way to learn is actually let things unfold naturally,
Yeah.
trust and surrender to the flow versus the structure.
Mm.
So when we manifest like visions of the future, like a new technology, a new product, a floating city that Raiden has in her mind, to a new policy, etc., the the trick is to both be excited for that future and build towards it, but
Mm.
know that it's going to unfold like a flower. So the
Yeah.
flower is not going to look like a bud; it's going to look like something brand new. And so to surrender your attachment with what the flower looks like in
Mm.
the end, because you
Mm.
don't know.
Mm.
So just like this podcast, the best podcast is sort of when you're like, okay, what are you feeling to ask right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Because uh, you you put a framework on a conversation that Birgit and I had in the morning, that actually the Wave Makers podcast is to kind of uh, bring on the community together, kind of connect the interest of, people to collaborate, people to invest, people to think together, to share their kind of knowledge, and not like a blah blah blah, but it's business, right? So it's that kind of fight in the head of being, uh, it's not aspirational, but like, kind of losing value on the meaning of things. But what I want to bring, because I connect with you in everything you're saying and doing, but it's like how, and you have managed to bring that to the table, to the business, and with your credibility and with who you are and your story is kind of like, yes, it's possible, and it's
Yeah, it
it's
is.
it's
It is.
required kind of thing.
Yeah. I
um
mean, for business, because this is women founders, right, who are listening to this.
and also
Um,
investors, venture capital, or uh
this whole ecosystem of
accelerators,
creating.
incubators, yeah, like. Mm.
So I will give you an example of like, again, as an executive coach, a strategic oracle is another way to say it. For example, this one founder, female, I'll use this. She's raising money. I've helped her raise money, like a sort of a financial advisor, but plus. So raised one round. Now we're going into another round, hopefully to an acquisition. But the way that I work with her is not like anything you've ever seen before, right? So I do what I did with you, which is I'm feeling, okay, what's important to come in,
Mm.
right? And then the cloud database in the sky tells me, okay, there's a risk that I need to tell her about. So we dive into that. Or she's going into a meeting and I'm like, let me see who the attendees are. I'm like, there's a friction point, there's a block here with this person. Let me investigate that. How can I transmute that, right? Online.
Mm.
Um, we work on pitch decks together. And then there's certain words that have energy pull. There's certain words that have no energy. They don't belong. They need to be removed and
Mm.
swapped, right? There's certain pictures, there's certain colors in the
Mm.
pitch deck. All of that is just like energy flow. So I work with her to do whole pitch decks, right? When, whether or not she should do this event or that event, I'll be like, I'm feeling this momentum, right? This pull, this magnetic attraction to this event. Now, I have the business experience to ask the right questions. So I can talk the CEO, the series A, B, C, and whatever private equity, speak with her and translate it to business. But really what I'm doing is I'm asking different questions
Mm.
that we don't normally ask. So when I say, does this resonate with you?
Mm.
Like that's the question that I ask all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm getting that option C, like rebranding it to this name is really important. how do you resonate with this, right?
Mm.
Or she also feels very sensitively like you do in her body. So I'm like, what? I pause, I'm finished with a conclusion. I'm like, what did you sense? What did you feel? What did you see? Okay. So then she'll describe it, and almost always it's validating. Then she'll go through whatever it is that we talked about, and she'll give validation. She'll be like, oh my God, this was exactly right. This was really important, or they really did respond to this new phrase, or et cetera, et cetera. Right.
Mm.
So what I find is this, like, if you lead with the cloud database in the sky helping you prioritize, then you use AI in your analytics to build out, it's much faster. You
Yeah.
find the needles in the haystack, and actually the needle in the thousand haystacks
Mm.
much faster.
Mm.
So I want to model this for people. Ideally, you hire me to do it, but obviously I do a lot of this stuff for free. Go to mypeggyenergy.com if you're called more on a personal journey
Yeah.
to go within and just look at how all, like 20 people at a time sometimes will show up on Zooms, and they'll all be expressing what they're sensing and feeling.
Mm.
You'll see how we work together to validate each other,
Mm.
right? So that's not a business thing. That's more of a personal healing, physical, emotional, sometimes humanities, specific events, trauma, etc. But all of those things can be applied to business. So my book is really removing all the woo-woo and focusing mainly on how do you increase your human perceptive capacity to make clearer decisions faster.
Yeah.
That's it. Super
Mm.
senses allows you to do it, but if you ignore your super senses, then you don't have that advantage. And AI is basically taking everything that is not super senses,
Mm.
and nobody is going to be better than AI for the
Mm.
rest of the stuff, the analytics.
Mm.
So it's up to us to use the super senses to steer AI in the right direction.
Totally.
Yeah. So
Totally.
with that, I hope this was a really good discussion. I hope people are inspired. I hope people
Yes.
comment. I hope people, tell Soul if you want more of this. I'm happy to do a group session, maybe
That would
open
be
to more
fantastic.
people
Yeah.
live, right? And please pray that I finish this book and sign up
Yes.
on supersenses.co for the waiting list, the mailing list. Yeah, but most of all, just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Start to listen to yourself
I
and
think
what
that
you're,
message is it's that's it for everybody
yeah.
listening to us is like believe in yourself, and there's tools that we can provide, and there is people like you that you are kind of incredible. I'm super happy to have this conversation with you, and that you gave me all this time and you're patient, and um I just want to say all my gratitude. And if you have any other women that you would like us to bring to the podcast, do you
Well, I
mind
mean,
sharing?
I'm surprised you haven't interviewed Nina yet, but
Yeah,
for
I will.
sure,
Yeah,
Nina Jensen. I mean, she's like star
yes,
Norwegian,
yes,
Rev
she,
Ocean,
she,
WWF. I don't even need to tell you who she is.
yes.
And then Raiden Lauritsen is this like undiscovered gem, and you should really have her show you
Mm,
what the floating city looks like and
mm,
bring a whole ecosystem of people around her to bring this to life, because it's so Norway. And she goes between her suburb in Oslo and a mountain cabin, and she's one of my actually she found me on a podcast. So
oh,
full circle. It's very funny. She found me on a podcast. She was like an
fantastic.
emergency room surgeon, like holding a heart, stitching the heart and stuff. She burnt out, and she's really just she's opened so many doors.
Mm,
We've been playing together, as I say. So talk to her,
yeah, I will do.
and I
I
think
will, I
start
will
there.
do. Yeah, thank you. And if there's any message for new people coming in into this world, what would you say? Next generation.
I would say really turn off your mind and stop being conditioned to how other people are trying to manipulate your mind, because the only way you can remember your true wisdom inside and discern what is fake and real is to listen to your body, your senses. And your mind is too easily manipulated. It's trained, it's conditioned through school, through news, through video games, through whatever, through societal stereotypes. So the whole way to remember who you are is to like turn off your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to send you blessings. Thank you so much for having
Everybody
me.
for listening. And thank you, Peggy. It's been a very special day.
I'm so happy. So happy.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.